Milking It, the truth about demand and supply. Hi, I'm Nicole Butera. I am a certified breastfeeding specialist. I am a mom of 3 boys and a wife, and I live in sunny Florida. I am a lactation professional, and you can mainly find myself and one of our IBCLCs at the Milk Nest on Instagram, and we provide one-on-one services to moms all over the world virtually, in home as well, and we also offer breastfeeding education, encouragement, and support, whether it's with our courses being relatable online or within our community. Some of the topics that I like to talk about are milk production, and I also love everything pumping. I recommend products that I use myself to moms, Momcozy of course being one of them, whether that is picking out what breast pump they would like, whether that is picking out what baby gadget they would like, milk warmer, chiller, my favorite, the bottle washer. My journey started with my first. I exclusively pumped with him in 2018 after nursing didn't go the way as planned, after my birth didn't go the way as planned, and I really felt like a second place parent. Within that, I found my love for pumping. Then come my second, I was so much more adamant to really dive into not just birth, but prepare myself for breastfeeding, which is something I recommend to all moms. When I had my first Giano, I thought breastfeeding just came naturally. You just plop them on the boob and they go at it, but that wasn't the case with me. Just because breastfeeding is natural doesn't mean that it comes easy, and I found sense in that statement. With that, I felt like a second place parent because I just provided milk. I didn't think I was breastfeeding. I was just doing a job that I had to do or that I wanted to do. But with my first son, I completed 1 year of exclusively pumping, and within that, I would always go to social media to ask for tips, find advice, and sometimes even give the advice that I knew at that time, and I found my love for pumping. I also found the confidence to say I was breastfeeding, that pumping is breastfeeding, and that I was enough. Whether I was nursing a baby on the breast, whether I was just removing milk with a breast pump, I knew that my worth as a mom was not found in either one, but that I was doing the best I can, and I want moms to know that ultimately their best is enough. If you've had a traumatic birth, like myself, I had a really hard birth with my first when it didn't go as planned, give yourself the period to grieve. Give yourself the period you need to talk about it. Talk about it with people who feel like they are safe to talk about it with, and ultimately know that that does not define you as a mom. Your worth isn't measured in how your birth came out. Your worth isn't measured in the amount that you pump out. How much milk should I expect to produce, and what's normal? So normal is going to look different for everyone, but usually what is the average? So an average amount of milk supply when you are replacing a feed is anywhere between 2 and 5 ounces combined. If it's after a nursing session, we usually like to look anywhere of about ½ ounce to 2 ounces combined. If you're exclusively pumping, an average amount is usually around 24 ounces in 24 hours. The early days and colostrum. Colostrum is milk. You usually start to produce this around 16 weeks of pregnancy. With that being said, baby stomach sizes, especially a full-term newborn, is going to be small. So the first day, this is about the size of a newborn stomach, which is about 5 to 7 mLs. This is day 3, which is about 22 to 27 mLs. And day 10, we're tracking at about 60 to 81 mLs. What is the difference between a primary and a secondary pump? A primary breast pump is going to be your main go-to breast pump. It usually provides the most optimal amount of milk removal. It usually has a stronger suction as well, and it involves removing milk on both sides. Compared to a wireless breast pump, it is definitely one that I would suggest all moms have firsthand. This is your secondary breast pump. Most of the time it's going to be wireless. Now a wireless breast pump is nice and it is convenient and it provides flexibility. I love it myself. I use it to go pick up my son from school when I need to do chores around the house. Though I love this flexibility, I don't usually recommend it as a primary pump because remember, a primary pump removes the most amount of milk that it can considering that you have the right flange size and the settings. With that being said, over time, if you're just using a wireless breast pump, you can slowly start to see a dip because they do not remove that same amount that a primary would. How do you know which breast pump to put on your registry? Look at reviews. There is a lot of reviews out there from different people, different backgrounds, different lactation professionals, doulas, midwives. Look at reviews. Ask your mom friends too that recently had a baby, because a breast pump from 2018 is going to work different than it will now in 2025. Your best bet is going to be working with a lactation professional who is very keen and knows about breast pumps. Ultimately, you're going to need to pick what suits your lifestyle best. How do I manage my double letdown when I am feeding on one side? Usually, if you want, you can just leave it as is, let baby nurse, and let them regulate your supply. If you would like to catch that extra milk, usually I would suggest adding in a milk collector that doesn't put pressure to remove milk if you want to just catch what is coming down. A pro tip is going to be, if you'd like to increase your supply, once baby has already fed on number 1, you've offered number 2, go ahead and put that milk collector, that add section, back to number 1. Can hand expression support output? Yes, it can. 100%. You are still removing milk when you are hand expressing, and that is telling your body to make more milk. What hand expression is going to be is, I would recommend starting with some massage to kind of get things going. And then what you're going to do is you're going to form a C shape behind the nipple where it feels the most comfortable. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually push back, bring your fingers towards each other. You can even try a little forward and release. Another method is going to be press, compress, release. Press, compress, release. So you've heard the term supply and demand, but I want to switch gears and talk about demand and then supply. The way your body is going to know to make more milk is to demand more. And just like working out, it's not going to be overnight. It's going to take time, consistency, at times even some determination. But I know we, as all moms are, we are determined. So some things you can do are to nourish yourself, hydrate. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Supplements are fine if you would like to dabble into them, but I don't recommend depending on this alone just to maintain supply. Some things you can do to increase your supply are you can add in a pumping session after baby nurses once a day. Also, you can offer the breast more often. So again, since we are removing milk more often, your body is going to get the hint that it needs to make more milk, whether that's with hand expressing, latching baby more often, or pumping. Why does mastitis happen? So mastitis can happen because of a blockage or sometimes even infection, but it usually involves redness, you are swollen, you are engorged. You may have some flu-like symptoms as well, fever, chills, redness of the area. It usually commonly happens from a backup of milk, from blockage or infection. How can you fix mastitis? So you have probably heard heat, rest, empty the breast. That is not recommended anymore. Per Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine, what they recommend is actually targeting inflammation. So how can we target inflammation? Well, some things you could do are apply ice. Just like if you had a sprain, what would you do? You would apply ice. So with that also being said, you could do ice. You could also do some lymphatic massage, which is light taps around the breast and massaging up towards the axilla area. Some other things you could do to help with mastitis is also take choline. Choline is a supplement you can look into, but of course always make sure to talk to your primary health provider. Something else you can do for mastitis is wearing a nice supportive bra. So a wireless bra, to say, this does not put any strain on those milk ducts and your breast can basically breathe. Mastitis for most can feel like you are dealing with a lot of milk, especially in the beginning. Usually what moms feel after mastitis has finally calmed down is they may notice a lessening of milk supply. With that being said, don't fret, it usually is temporary. If you are mainly nursing, what I suggest is just allowing baby to feed on demand. They will naturally let your body know if it needs more. And if you're exclusively pumping, go ahead and stick to your usual schedule. And if you would like, you could add an extra session in a day. Some moms, when they are dealing with mastitis and they are nursing, it may actually change the flavor. Your baby may not want to nurse as often because of that change of flavor, but no worries, it will usually resolve and your baby will come back to feeding. With mastitis, don't aggressively empty every time and do not remove more milk than needed. Again, just allow baby to feed as naturally as they would. And if you are exclusively pumping, just stick to your schedule. I'm gonna tell you about exclusive pumping. So for an exclusively pumping mom, we usually like to see around 24 ounces within 24 hours. I got this question a lot about output, and remember, breasts are sisters, they are not twins. You can get different amounts on each side. Have I ever asked for help? Yes, when I was a first, second, and third time mom, I have always asked for help. I don't get an award for never asking for help in my life, so I've always taken that statement and carried it with me all throughout motherhood.